Time to get some rubber on, put some rubber in it. Hold on, let me get my camera right. I gotta check this. Somehow, some way, I gotta go on the other side of the camera, make sure I'm on the right spot, so you guys can see what I'm doing. Come on already. Too much stuff in my way. That looks good right there, right? Okay. All right. I brought my light out here because I will be working in the dark a little bit. Did I bring a brush? I think I did. Wait a minute. Of course not. Let me go get a brush. Gotta get a brush. Scouring stick. And my bucket. My chair. And I gotta be able to move a little quicker. I gotta be able to get closer to this. All right. So what I'm going to do is move this stuff over towards me just a tad bit. As long as that scale's on 0, I'm good. I weighed out, I zeroed out the bucket. That's good. And that's good. Now I can see what I'm doing. I couldn't see what I was doing before. Okay. First thing I got to do is, okay, I got my bucket zeroed out. That ain't no big deal. I still got things to do here before I do that. I want to make sure I pull all these hairs. I don't want any hair coming out of this brush. I'm going to try and stop it all. Now I'm using this just to apply the rubber into the mold. I got the spray release in here. That's good. All right, first thing I got to do here is I have to measure this. That's 783. I need my little calculator, and that's on my phone. Let me see what the other one is. I'll write it down. I don't have paper and pen, so wait a minute. That's wrong. Forgot to zero it out. It's 964 grams, 964 grams. this is 960 grams. So, what do I want to do here? Do I want to use half? All right, so what is this? So whatever this weighs, I have to half it. That's 964, which is the exact same weight as that one bottle. It's 965, sorry. It's jumping around from 4 to 5. So we'll be on the safe side and say 90 or 65. Okay. All right, so I got to use my phone. This is terrible. I don't have my pen and paper out here. Oh, wait a minute. Yes, I do. Hold on. You know what? I'm going to use the phone just a lot quicker. Hopefully I can do this without shutting you guys off. All right. I need to write it down though. Let me grab my little pen that's sitting over here. And a block of wood that I can write on. I have to get to the calculator. All right, so, all right, guys, are you back on with me? Say hello. Sorry for if the screen got messed up or whatever. I had to use a calculator because I'm not a mathematician, but we are at 964. And 482 is how much of that I have to pour into that. So now I'm going to put you back up onto the stand here. All right. Get seated and get comfy there. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is now I'm going to zero out this pail. It's 178 grams, and we're going to zero that out so it's 0. We're going to dump one of these bottles into this bucket. Come on. Doesn't want to come undone. Don't fight me all the way, is it? Get that up over that lip and be able to pull it right over. There we go. All right, so zeroed out. Yeah, this stuff's yellow. It's liquid urethane. That'll never harden until I put this stuff in it. I'm just going to drain that out completely. I want to make sure that bottle is completely empty. I'm gonna weigh this bottle just in case, just to see what this bottle weighs. And I'll subtract that from that number here. I'll subtract that from the 482. Okay, because we got 891 on here now. That's how much rubber's inside of this. Now this won't cure until I. All right, so now we're going to zero this out again. And that's 68 grams. The bottle empty. Oops, let me put the cap on it too. Every ounce counts. $71. That cap made a difference. So we're going to subtract 71 grams from the 482. And that leaves me with 411. 482. 71 minus 82, or 82 minus 71 doesn't leave me much with. So that's 411, I'm going to say. Yeah. It's 411. Okay. That's a little easier to figure out. So I got to add 411 to this. $411 grams of this stuff to the liquid rubber. Yeah, I forgot to measure the. Oh, I know what I can do. I'll just zero this out. Boom. And then I just put the 411 grams in there. So I've zeroed it out with the stuff in there. All right. Pretty simple. Just gotta. You're constantly thinking as you're working. You're not really. You're dealing with chemicals, and they have to be exact. They really do. And important. So we got to go 411 grams into here. 411 grams, and then I got to mix this thoroughly. All right, so that's at 0. $157, 170, 180, 200. $300, 330, 350, 366, 375, whoa, 383. Gotta go easy now. 390, 400, 8, 11, 12, that's 14. It's a little more than I wanted, but that's okay. It's not going to hurt. It's not that far off. Okay, so we got that out of there. And now we mix vigorously. Scrape your walls real good. You don't want to create too many air bubbles, so don't mix it so you don't want to put air into it. Now, this doesn't change any other color, it stays yellow. Liquid urethane. Making sure you get it on the bottom good and the walls. This takes a good half hour to 45 minutes of constantly working this material up onto the walls and up onto the, the sculpture. Gonna reuse that stick. And all we're gonna do here is pour it into the hole. Pour a little bit there. And quite a bit here. A little more here. All right, that's trying to run forward here, so I need to, oh no, it's going to stop. All right, perfect. Let me see if I can scrape that out. While it's running, I'm going up on the top because all right, I'll have to reuse this again. You can see what I'm doing here. I'm just pulling this material up onto the walls and onto the seam. And as this thickens and dries, I'll brush a lot of this stuff. I'll spread it up onto the walls further as it gets thicker. So it's not mosquitoes, get out of here. You need your aggravation. Now, see, I got enough on here to give me a nice seam. I'm brushing real good right into where the letters are. And now it's just move the material up onto the walls. Now I'm going to do the same thing over here. Especially in the ears. You got to make sure you got a nice batch of rubber in the ears. Real good. No air bubbles. Don't want any of those. As this thickens and cures, I'll be able to stick more material up onto the walls. It'll stay up there, and that's what you want. As this thickens, it won't run off the walls like it's running right now. I got to move over closer. thing I want to make sure I'm into the eyebrows, into the nose area real good. Make sure there's no air bubbles in there. Get them out. As this thickens, I'm going to pull some of this material out of the holes. Yeah, I'll get that stuff out of the holes as I work the material. Yeah, I'm glad I did this tonight, because I would have been like, I would have lost my interest tomorrow. I don't like the mold part process. It's the most stressful because you make a mistake here, you lose all your work. But it's all part of the game. You have to play it. There's rules. Just make sure it's all covered. And I definitely want more of this stuff on the wall so it's nice and thick. It starts to really gel up in about a half hour. So I'm just constantly moving this material until it starts to really thicken up. Just got to make sure it's nice and thick on all the spots. Go away, bugs. Once this coat stiffens up, then what I do is I put these two pieces together, and then I mix another batch, the same amount, only I add the thickener to it to make it really thick. And that will seal the deal. So with that, all right, let's go back over here and move some stuff around. See how much that ran off? This side's easy because there's barely any. There's not a lot of detail on the back of the head. can't wait for about a half hour. And this will really start to stiffen up, and then it'll be sticking to the walls. I just keep working it back and forth. Ooh, I just got a little bit of a gel. I saw that. We'll see. Almost like, you know how like gelatin starts to get globby. When this starts to cure, when it starts to cure, it starts getting globby-ish. You gotta keep working it. You gotta keep working it. This, you want the first coat runny because you want to be able to capture all the detail. This stuff really captures great detail. It really gets every little nook and cranny. You just got to make sure you don't have any bubbles. You don't see any bubbles in here. I'm not working it so hard that it's creating bubbles. I'm getting chewed alive out here, so this stuff better start curing soon. As long as the stuff's still this runny, it'll keep running off the walls. We want a nice thickness on all the walls. Important, important, important. Very important. Especially into the ears. You got to make sure there's no air bubbles in there. Stuff is so goopy. It does have a self-leveling property. Now, I don't mind that if this hardens up, there's a big hard area in the face because that's where the detail is. And when I go to cast this, it'll be nice and firm on the face where all the real details are. And I'll never have to worry about it being, what's the right word, too thin. Because the urethane, it will tear if it's not thick enough. So you're constantly working it up. Yeah. See how you can see the walls again. You can see how it's translucent. You need a lot on the outer edge. Because once this cures, it's not going to leak no matter what anyway. Because the next batch is a real thick mix. You'll see it's got a poly fiber that I add to the bucket, and I'll show that process too. But I'll let this cure for at least an hour after I'm done brushing it. I'll put it together. I spilled a little on the table. I ain't gonna care about that down here. That don't matter. That's just running off of here. But I don't want this to be too thick, so I clean that up. Ooh, there's the frogs. They're back. Yeah, it's starting to get stickier now. It's getting stickier, guys. I like it. I like it. Especially the ears. I have to really make sure I pile it up into the ears. Notice I attack the ears first as soon as I come back. Now the whole purpose of making a urethane rubber is because then you don't lose the original size of your sculpture. And it's a master copy that will last forever. And you can always make more masks from the master copy. You can just make, what I can do is put stone right over top of this. You have to release it well because like I said, this stuff will stick to stone. Even after it's cured. But when I say that, you know, I put a really good release on there before I put the stone on the mold of the master copy. Yeah, it's getting clumpier. I love it. I love it. Yeah, it's not running this. You see how it's like, all right, watch. You see how it's like, you see coagulating? Gnats will get in here, so what? They'll drown. And we'll have a gnat infested, mosquito infested mask or sculpt or master copy. There are some gnats in there. They're getting in there. And they're also getting into my blood. They're taking samples from me. Hey, mosquito, get out of here. It's not running as much now, which is good because now I can really pile up really get the stuff up under the walls now and get it out of that gully. Now what I'll do is I'll go over top of this real good. Yeah, so that's already drying in there. I gotta get that out of there. Get them out of the keys. So I wasn't going to start taking that out of there until I know that I was getting close to it's not running as much here now. A little bit, not much. Keep going back and forth. See how it's getting thicker on the walls now. Yeah. Get chewed alive. Time consuming. Don't rush. Make sure you get all the spots. And make sure you see, look for air bubbles too. See how it's sticking there? See how it's not coming down? It's not running like it was? Now the weight will pull it down too. So you gotta be careful with that. Just keep working it. back over here, back and forth until it's completely sticking really good. Now, as it gets to this point where it starts to really stick and stay true to its form as you're brushing it, you see, you can even actually see where the gully is, but where the brush was. It gets to this, you want to constantly, watch those air bubbles. So you see an air bubble pop it. Because they won't pop, they'll get to a point where they won't pop on their own. Because this gets too thick. It seems like I'm pulling a lot from the base here at the bottom, but that's okay because it fills right back up again for a little longer, not much longer. This stuff getting really sticky now. I'm going to get back over here. I'm going to do a little bit more of this ear before this starts to really seal up. And I'm going to pop bubbles as I do it. Ah. The bugs. It's terrible. So the next batch is real thick. It'll get to the point where it's no longer runs at all. And it's getting there now. It's really getting close. Which is okay. The next batch, I got to really make sure I get it into the All right, now it starts getting to the point where the rubber wants to stick to itself, so you end up pulling stuff away from the wall, and you don't want to do that. You want to make sure that it stopped running. So now it's just bubble popping time. I don't want it to try to force it anymore. This side here, I got a little bit more working time. It's because I dumped it last. Believe it or not, it makes a difference. That's it. That's as much as we're going to get out of that. Now I want to make sure this is all cleaned out here. That looks good. This eyeball a little bit. This corner a little bit right here. Yeah, I'm not doing any more of the ears. I'll end up pulling the rubber out of the mold. I don't want to do that. That's it. That's as much as I can do. I'll let that cure for a few seconds. And then I'll put it together. this is no good. The bucket will be fine, and this will peel off the table with no problem. But I don't want this to run. If I put this together now, the bottom half or top half will start running on. You know, it'll. I want to capture all the detail in the mask itself. So I'm going to pop these bubbles at the corner of my stick here. Wow, they did pop. Okay, that's cool. Got a couple here that I did too. Yeah, they pop too. As long as they pop, because if they pop, when I put the next batch in there, it'll go right into the hole. Yeah, that's believe it or not, that's pretty thick, this wall. That's not a bad job. I've done worse. Mosquitoes. Yeah, this is really gelling up now. See just by pushing that little bit, it's gelling away from that wall. I don't want to mess with it now. Time's up. See what it's doing now? It's just literally scraping off the walls here. I hope this is teaching you guys something. I don't know if it is or not, but hopefully. Don't be scared, guys. Don't be afraid. Nothing is ever as hard as it seems. It really isn't. You got a little bit of art ability about you. Don't be afraid. Make a mask. And they're chewing me alive. I'm getting chewed alive. I got a little sunburn out here too from today. So I just got to hurry up and wait. Let that cure up to where it's hard, stiff. When I see a mosquito land on it and then take off again, I think we're ready. Lands on it now, it's stuck. But this is going to cure pretty quick here. The next batch is the magic batch. That's where it really, that's when it'll stick to the walls. It'll be nice and thick. Don't want those mosquitoes up against the wall. That would really suck. Yeah, it's not doing nothing now. It's good. Not moving. That means my ratio was perfect as far as adding the hardener. My ratio is on the money. See, once this gels to the point where it won't fall out or won't run or won't drizzle out, I'll be able to put this together, seal it, make the next batch, only it's like peanut butter, it's thick. And then you spread it up, but I have to make sure that's good and cured. It's got to be cured for at least an hour, maybe less. Yeah, about an hour. So, this is part, what am I at, 3, 4? I'm not even sure. This is part 3 or 4. And the next part is the finishing touches of this. That's when this goes together. The next part, I put this together, and I mix up another batch of this stuff, what's left. Another full bottle, and I make sure that I'm nice and thick all over the walls. Once this is together, I put it upside down in a bucket, and I fill it that way. I fill it up from the inside, and it's thick. It'll be thick, and I'll be able to push it up against the walls real good. So, especially into the ear sockets, real good, and along the neckline. You want it nice and thick. This coat captures the detail. The next coat gives it the thickness and sturdiness that it needs when you go to make stone molds from your master copy. You know, you can't have a thin, it can't be flopping around, because if this is not stiff enough, you won't be able to make a stone mold from it. So it's really important that it's nice and stiff. And the reason why I always like to do it this way first is because then this gullies up into where the eyes are, and that's the areas that get flimsy. So if I make a nice solid pool right where the eye is, it's easier to, it'll be nice and stiff. It'll be nice and stiff, especially around the lettering. Yeah, this is where this is looking good. This is looking good. I just have to make sure that this is good and stiff. I have to get a new brush, probably a new bucket. I'll have to get a new bucket. I'll take that bucket and empty out my other bucket for my paintbrushes. Put my paintbrushes in there. So I'll be back in probably about an hour. Get out of here, bug. Sorry about that, I just hit the camera. I'll be back in about an hour, and we'll continue on. Meanwhile, I'm going to go switch the buckets, get another stir stick. Yeah. And another brush, stir stick. Now this time I don't have to measure anything. I won't have to calculate any of this. And the reason why is because I already know the rest of that is for that in the other bottle of rubber. It's 2-to-1 ratio. 2 of those bottles to 1 of these bottles. And I used half exactly, just about. That's awesome. Such a cool thing, man. Make a nice thick. I'm not trying to leave any extra, because once this cures and hardens, I can't repair this. If there's bubbles, you can't repair it with the same urethane. It won't stick to itself. In other words, if I put a wet mix in there and then try to fill a bubble, a hole or something, it won't stick to it. But there's other things I can do to fill that hole. Like, I can fill it with a little bit of silicone. I can fill it with a little silicone. It won't stay in there permanently, but what it will do is it'll get you past, it'll be okay while you're making your stone. It'll probably pull it out when you go to demold it, but that's okay, because hopefully we don't have any of those issues.
What's going on, man?
I'm done doing this part of it, where I got the urethane in the face, letting that harden enough to where I can put this on top And then I gotta mix another batch and then put the polycarbonate and thicken it up like peanut butter and put it on the inside and put it all over the nice, areas, especially the ear area. Got a ton of stuff to do. And by tomorrow, this should be cured enough. I'm gonna wait a full day or two. I might wait a day or two just to get this master done. I want to make sure this is really cured. I don't want to pull this out if it's not cured. Look at this bug. He landed right there and he's stuck. He's pissed off and stuck. And now I can't get him out. All right. Yeah, I can. There we go. He's out. But all I'm trying to do is push that out so it's out here, because that'll come off anyway. I'll razor that off. Yeah, baby. That's what we're talking about. Now let's see if that runs again. If that runs again, that's telling me it's still not quite cured. I don't think it's going to run again. I think we're out of the woods with the running. I don't think it's going to run no more. And that's pretty thick right on these walls. Believe it or not, that's probably about a 1/16 of an inch thick. Some areas a little less, but that's okay, because this isn't the last coat, like I said. But this has to be firm enough to where it doesn't peel off when I go to put the other stuff in there. Yep. Yeah, man. I can't wait. Because I have decided to make another master copy of my, I'm going to make another mold that won't leak, that will do the large from this urethane master copy. I'll make another mold from that, and it'll be a one-piece mold, and it won't be nowhere near as thick as that. It might be like half the thickness of this mold. It'll be half the thickness. And I'll probably get about 20 pulls from it, and then I have to make another mold from this master copy. You just keep making the molds as you need them. Now, the one thing about this mold is if I screw this up and I take this apart, and the mask isn't perfect, I can always remold. I can always do it again. But you gotta get all the rubber off. I don't know if that's gonna be that easy. came right off of there, cool. And so I was trying to see if it's gonna slip right off of that mold. Because as I'm sitting here yapping to you guys, I suddenly realized I didn't use my Pulleys 2300 release agent. Boy, I hope that's not a big mistake. Boy, I hope that's not a big mistake. I'm hoping that release agent that they gave me here, where'd it go? Did I take it back inside already? No, here it is. Let me see what it says. No, this will do the job in itself. Yeah, this will do it. Got me a little worried there. So I'll have my Polytech for other projects, which is good. I shouldn't have any problem with this once it's in here and cured. It's got to be hard though. I can't have it. Can't have it loose like this. It's got to be stiffer than this before I can put it together. Because I have a funny feeling. I don't know if this will move. I don't think it will. I'm gonna wait a couple more minutes and then I'm gonna put this thing together and just keep right on going with the process. Once I have it together, then I'll let it sit for a couple hours. I want to make sure it's good and hard before I put the, maybe an hour. I'll let it wait, I'll wait about an hour. Okay, that I want to make sure I do. I forgot about this. You gotta get them out of there because if they harden inside of there, you won't be able to get them out. And if those keys aren't smashed together, that much rubber in there hard, forget it. I'll never be able to put the mold together completely. It won't close tight. I'll make sure that's good and tight. Just where the register keys are. Doesn't matter about these clay pry areas. Just the register keys. Now that it's not running, there's a light coat around that. Yeah. Just a little longer. And I'll pick this thing up and put it together and I'll strap it together. Nice and tight. I just don't want this stuff to You know what? While I'm sitting here doing nothing, why don't I read your text? see what you guys are saying and see what's going on. What did I do? Is that something sitting in here? Boy, I hope not. It's not in the... I'm going to leave it alone. It's too late now to mess with it, because if I mess with it now, what will happen is it'll pull it away from the wall. And we don't want that. So let's say hello. Who's watching?
Santa Claus?
Jeffrey Byers. Boy, I got a lot of advice for you. Did you hear this? Jeffrey Byers. Do you have any advice for me? Because I want to start making latex and silicone mask. Okay. Jeffrey, I don't do silicone mask. I've watched videos on how to. I'm sure I can do it, but I don't want nothing to do with silicone masks. Too much money. They cost a lot of money to do silicone. And if you make a mistake, you're out a lot of money. So my advice to you is don't start out with doing silicone. Start out doing latex, because latex is cheaper. Your mistakes don't cost you nearly as much. So do yourself a favor. Stay with latex first, and get good at it before you tackle silicone. Because silicone, there's a lot more mold. There's much more difficult mold process with that, because you got to have an inner side and an outer side. There's not just you got all kinds of you have to have I can't remember what they call them. Bleeds. You have to have bleeding holes in your molds. Start watching videos on it. It's not easy to do. It's not an easy process. Guys that do it and have been doing it for a long time, they make it look easy, but it's not that easy. And I just don't want to tackle silicone masks. Maybe they're the new thing, but they're expensive. They're expensive to make. And, if they're really good, you got collectors out there that will buy them. But your average silicone mask costs you anywhere from $800 to $1,000. And that's not including shipping. And shipping now is getting ridiculous. So, but I would start out with silicone, or start out with latex. And all my videos, you can watch all my videos, and I've got all kinds of videos showing you the process of how to make a latex mask. And I'm not the only one out there. There's quite a few people out there doing that. So anyway, yep. Crusher. I'm not even sure what time it is. When was the last time you texted me? Are you done? Are you off of here? I guess, Crusher, you're gone. So I gotta wait. Hurry up and wait. A little bit longer, and then I'll be able to flip this up and then mix up the next batch. Yeah, let me end this video. Hit the like, the subscribe. Subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Hit the like and hit the notification, and I'll be back with part 4 when I put this thing together. And that's only going to be a few minutes from now, because I really want to get this done. I got to get this thing out of my hair tonight so I can go watch some TV and relax. And I didn't want to have to tackle this tomorrow. I got other things to do. I got to cut the grass tomorrow. I got a lot of stuff to do. So with that being said, I'll be back in a few minutes with part 4. I think it's 4. Anyway, peace. Crusher, I'll be back in about 15, 20 minutes for the last part of this, if that's you. All right? All right, I'll be back in a few minutes. Got to get this thing done tonight. I want it finished. Now I have to finish it, because now I have no choice, because I can't let that completely cure without putting the other layer on, because it won't stick to itself. As long as it's sticky, I'm good. But I'm trying to make that hard. I want that fairly hard so it doesn't run out on me on either side when I put it together. So with that being said, I'll be right back in 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and we'll start part 4 of how to make a urethane master copy.